Hey, it's Lauren, and I help six-figure brands turn their reputations into revenue. And today, I'm going to be doing a presentation that I actually recently gave at the H7 networking group, but it didn't record, so this is actually a remake of that presentation, all about the art of brand monetization. How the heck you can open up another revenue stream for your business through what makes the most sense for you, whether that be a course, whether that be a community, whether that be a book, live events, group coaching, mastermind. So without further ado, I'm going to hand things off to Lauren, and then she'll kick things off with the presentation. Enjoy. We're going to start off with Steve. Steve's a client of mine. He's been with me for just a year. It really hasn't been that long, but he's been with me for about a year. And Steve spent over 40 years as a private portfolio manager, managing over 110 million in assets across 30 or 40 different portfolios. But this particular strategy, this methodology that he had adopted, he applied to his clients, which allowed them to make tons of money with their portfolios under his management. Sold his business back in 2023, and he decided to distill everything that he had done for his clients into a book called Retirement Money Secrets. And he did this also with the strong belief that people could create this kind of retirement for themselves. They didn't need someone like him to do all of this for him. This book was a way to kind of share like a teach a man to fish type of approach. I've done it now. Here's how you can do it. Share it with your grandkids, share it with their kids, all that stuff. So that's really kind of what the basis of this book was. He hired me initially to help market his book. And by the time he approached me, he had independently sold 3,000. So this guy was on a roll. And just 3 months after working together, he came to me with this idea of, what if we took this book and kind of morphed it into a community. And I thought it was a really great idea. I was thinking about, he's got the expertise, he's got the credibility. The book has proven that there's interest in this subject matter. It resonates with people. All of the reviews, hundreds of reviews that he has on Amazon are all 5-star, 4 and 5-star. There's no way for this kind of thing to not work out. I have no idea how something like this would not work with all that he's spent his decades developing. Happy to report that during our time together, the first month we had so many signups that we actually attracted about $22,000 in revenue for just the month of December in 2024, which is when we launched it. Now, of course, this number is a bit of an outlier just because everyone is signing up at the same time, but within about 6 or 7 months, we had broken consistent 5-figure monthly recurring revenue, 500 subs during that same time, and we're on track right now to sell about 10,000 copies of his book, Retirement Money Secrets, by the end of 2025. When people are getting involved, answering each other's questions, carrying the conversations without too much prompting, that's kind of the secret sauce to a successful community, and this has just proven to me that it is absolutely possible if you have something that's in demand. So if we were going to just kind of talk about what the heck is brand monetization, what even is it, okay? The way that I interpret this is that it's the process of transforming your expertise and what you know and the results that you've gotten for yourself and others, turning all of that plus the natural interest that has garnered from other people into a structured system that allows you to capitalize on the attention and the interest and the demand that you're getting from folks and turning that into a revenue engine. In Steve's case, they read the book. We channeled that interest into a community where people could feel like they have a sense of belonging. And because everyone wants to share it with other people and we encourage that kind of thing, we offer 30% recurring commission for life for anyone who brings in a member from the outside to join the community. So what are some of the core traits that Steve had that really made this thing a success? The way that I see it and the way that I saw it when he approached me with this idea is that he's got 3 things working for him. He's got a proven method. Proven by 40 plus years. This guy knows his stuff. He's gotten tons of results for his clients. He's got a stellar reputation, very strong. He's made a lot of people a lot of money so that they don't have to worry about running out of money in retirement. And as a result, he's got a lot of organic interest. He's using this unconventional method that is not gimmicky, that is not spammy, that generates results, and people are curious about that kind of thing, right? And you get enough of those kinds of testimonials and success stories from people, you do kind of start to think like, there really might be something to this. So there's going to be some of that natural interest. So these are sort of the core elements that I look at when I'm working with clients or when I'm having conversations with people that tell me, is there any reason for why this kind of thing, a book, a podcast, a community, a course, a mastermind group, training, whatever, is there any reason for why this wouldn't work out? These are the 3 things that I think about. So this is kind of where the meat of the hamburger is, okay? This is something that I've come up with, and I call them engine stages. And these are representative of where your business is at in terms of development. You've got foundational, you've got client acquisition or growth, credibility, and scalability. What stage is your business at so that you can scale what you sell in a way that does not sacrifice the quality but enhances the experience, okay? Let's take a look at foundational real quick. These are some of the attributes that I associate with having a more foundational business, right? You're still clarifying your offers, you're still gauging interest, you're trying out lots of new marketing strategies. Maybe you're doing mid or a little bit under mid 5 figures in annual recurring revenue, 50,000 or less. You're doing a lot of networking, right? You've got both time and money on your side. This was actually mistyped. It shouldn't say minimal right there. Based on all of this information, what type of revenue engine makes sense for you so that you can start getting more clients that way, selling at scale, building credibility, all that stuff. At this stage, there's nothing directly that's going to make you money. There's no quick fix, there's no shortcut, there's nothing like that. With foundational, a lot of it at this point is all about positioning. That's why I recommend networking, finding your tribe, right? Every networking group is going to be a little bit different. So you want to know who are your people and who are those folks that are willing to say your name in a room of opportunities, and vice versa. You do the same for them. Have you gotten client feedback or testimonials from folks or projects that you've taken on before, past people that you've worked with? You're still clarifying your positioning, doing some of that market research, figuring out, does the problem that I solve even have a need at all in the marketplace? A lot of it is just using the scientific method to brainstorm what sounds good in theory, testing it out, and asking yourself, am I seeing more wins or losses from this kind of thing, and adjusting accordingly? This is like not a very sexy answer, but it is integral to positioning yourself and building relationships with folks where you both can work together to create mutually beneficial opportunities for yourselves, whether that's sharing clients, whether that's like being referrals for each other, anything like that. So this is kind of foundational. If we were going to take it a step further, then we would be talking about client acquisition or client growth. These are some of the attributes that I associate with this type of engine bucket. You're kind of starting to see some of the fruits of your labor. Maybe you've had a couple good sales. You might be breaking 6 figures even. You've kind of got more of that business stability. Maybe you hired a VA or someone part-time to kind of help you out with some administrative stuff or a little bit of project management. You've got maybe 1 to 3 good referral engines, people that you trust that are going to send people your way. This is what it looks like when you do those things before the networking, the client feedback, clarifying your positioning, and getting market feedback on what is needed and what isn't. This is what that looks like when you get to this stage, which is client growth, client acquisition. If this jives with you, these are my recommendations, and these are direct referral engines. At this stage, because you're not quite stable, but you're also not quite beginner, this is a really good opportunity for you to kind of borrow credibility or borrow audiences or borrow clients. You don't have to work quite so hard to get the same sort of result, and this might look like workshops, group trainings, cohorts, any kind of guest teaching, maybe even a revenue share or like some equity stake or something like that. And you've really got to use your discernment with this last one. If you want to be a long-term partner in a project that you really see potential in or that you really like working with the person, maybe that's something to consider and have a conversation about. But I would just say with this one, use your discernment, use your intuition, use your common sense with something like this. Not every opportunity is the best opportunity for something like this. But for some of these others, I would highly recommend doing these with colleagues or folks that you really trust that are complementary to what you do. And I'm speaking more toward like service-based folks. I'm not as familiar with product, but at least from a service-based perspective, these are the recommendations that I have for this particular type of growth business development stage. As you kind of start to find your footing with that more and more, you're going to get really solid in what works and what doesn't for sure with your business. So these are some of the attributes that I associate with credibility. Now that I've proven what works and I'm getting results consistently for my clients or the projects that I'm taking on, or even maybe my own efforts for like building up my personal brand or something, I want to be able to share this with the masses in the form of something that can be widely distributed, like a book or like a course or like a live event or something like that. But before I get ahead of myself, these are some of the attributes that I associate with a business that's in the credibility stage. You've got steady audience interest. It could be big, it could be small, it could be mid-sized. There's interest and there's some engagement there. You're positioning yourself for that long-term growth. You're seeking more brand visibility. You might have a small team of like 5 or maybe more, and you're doing about 150 to 500 in annual recurring revenue. If this sounds like you, these are some of the revenue engines that I associate or that I think would be most beneficial for this particular type of business stage. This is where you have enough interest that your little niche might be able to recognize your name or get an idea of who else you're associated with that kind of does similar work that you do or is maybe in like a similar caliber as you. So this is all about credibility, all about sharing what you know. This is kind of more like thought leadership-y if I had to put a label on it. And then the last one that I want to share here is scalability, where, I'm looking to go all the way to the top. I want to have like multi-million-dollar business. I want to grow a team. Like I'm ready to grow an enterprise. This is more scalability. And this is really relevant for folks who want to offer more of those like DIY type resources. Like, hey, I can't serve everyone, but I also don't want to leave anyone hanging. So here are some do-it-yourself type resources. So again, before I get ahead of myself, these are some of the attributes that I associate with scalability. You've more than proven your offer, your business model. It works. You're doing solid 6-figure in annual recurring revenue. A good team of maybe, 5 to 11 or more, depending on, kind of specifically where you're at in this stage. So what I think makes sense for this stage are courses, are communities, maybe some speaking, group programs or masterminds, right? Now, this is not to say that if you're scalability or if that's what you're going for, you can't write a book or you can't start a YouTube channel. You can kind of mix and match between credibility and scalability. These are kind of the 4 stages in each of their respective engines, I guess is what I like to call it. So if you want to confirm or clarify where the heck you are in your business stage, I've got a quiz you can take. It's only 10 questions. When I take it, it's like 3 minutes. It's definitely less than 5. You can go to onward.marketing/quiz, or you can scan this QR code. And this is going to tell you what stage you're in. Plug in your information in the little opt-in box, and then you're going to get emailed a detailed analysis with each of those specific recommendations that make sense for you in that business stage, okay? As you are kind of going through that, kind of think about some of these questions. If you really want to take this as an opportunity to reflect and really see where you are, I've got a couple questions here for you. How does your current marketing approach align or misalign with your engine category once you know what that is? And maybe where are you putting energy that might not match your natural engine, right? Like if you're in the credibility stage, maybe you don't need to be networking so much, for example. And then the last thing that I'll say here, some of my information is here. This is all to say, you don't need trendy social media gimmicks to grow. People either love them or hate them. I think most people kind of hate them. It's like hearing the same song play on the radio 10,000 times. You don't need trendy social media gimmicks to get what you want. And it's also worth focusing your energy on what makes sense for you. I think it is so easy. I think marketing is like the magical word that people think will just sort of like fix their problems. I don't know if you remember that scene in Mary Poppins where she snaps her fingers and like everything puts itself back. A web redesign is not going to fix your offer problem. Ads are not going to make people fall in love with your product, right? Put your energy for where it makes sense for you, and this quiz is going to help you do that. Your audience will also tell you what they want. All I care about for you is engagement. It is so easy to get sucked into those vanity metrics like likes and views. Oh, I got 10,000 likes. Oh, I got 100,000 views. Those are great. They don't tell you anything though. It just tells you how many people watched it. Now, if you had metrics on what is the percentage of people that are still watching by the 5-minute mark, I think that's really interesting. Is it a really steep drop off or is it a gradual drop off? And then finally, legacy and revenue can both coexist. It is possible to make money in a way that feels good. This is all to just kind of help position you and kind of put you on the right pathway for what makes sense for you and where your business is at. Hope you got something out of that presentation. If you did, please feel free to leave your thoughts, questions down below, maybe even the result that you got from the quiz. And be sure to check out all the stuff in the description box as well. Find me on LinkedIn, check us out, maybe watch some of our other videos, and I'll catch you in the next one. So take care until then, I'll see you later. Bye.